Uncle Go Clips.
Like YouTube care about CTR and then retention. So getting people to click and getting people to stay on the video. And you might get the best title and thumbnail in the world, but if you're not actually getting people to stay, it's not going to get promoted. It's not going to do well. So yeah, those are kind of the main problems I see with smaller YouTubers.
All right. Watch time, like you mentioned that in the last part here, it is really the biggest one. I try to think about it a lot, and I always think like, what's the type of person that watches until the end, and what do they want to see in the video, right? I love the channel Think Media from Sean Kennel, and I don't know if you know them, but they do also teach a lot about YouTube, and I love his sentence where he says minutes matter most. And that kind of convinced me that like it doesn't matter like how many views you get at the start, because if nobody watches the video, then the views kind of don't matter, because if nobody watched the video, then what's the point, right? So yeah, like what do you say to people, like how to increase the watch time, how to keep people watching until the end, and what are some of the tips that are people doing wrong there that they could improve?
Okay, so before anything, it needs to be a good video, because people just aren't going to watch a good video, obviously. So let's just get that out of the way, because that's obviously the biggest thing. So like you could make a really good video idea, but then edit it like kind of not so well, and maybe not have the best practices for retention, and still get good retention because the idea is so good. But if you've got like a bad video idea, it doesn't matter what you do, people just aren't going to be interested, in my opinion anyway. So like, yeah, before anything, establishing that and making sure your ideas are interesting to the viewer. And that's a hard skill to nail down. And me as a YouTube consultant, that's the hardest one for me to work on with channels, because in general, I'm not the one coming up with the ideas. I'm the one showing them how to optimize them. But that's still the kind of the 80-20, like that's the kind of the main factor, what the video is actually going to be about and how you're going to structure it yourself. So let's get that out of the way first. But in terms of getting more retention, what I just said there about keeping people after 30 seconds is hugely important. So if you keep people after 30 or 40 seconds or after the minute mark, they're much less likely to click off. Think about yourself. Like when you click on a new video, the most likely you are to click off is at the start. And if you don't click off at the start, there's a good chance you're going to stay around and watch a bit longer. Yeah. So addressing those titles, but really structuring your video so that the real payoff for your video is at the end where possible. So like, say for example, in Mr. Beast's case, he builds his video concepts and builds these incredible concepts and like gives you action from the minute one, but the ultimate payoff of the video is until the very end. So like whether it be him giving away something huge, that's at the very end of the video. And that just entices people to keep watching because they're waiting for that unresolved story. That's the way I call it, like unanswered questions or unresolved storylines. So how are you creating things that like lead into the video that make people, it's kind of impossible to click because you're not getting resolution as a viewer. So like even with my latest Eric video, for example, I said something like around the 2-minute mark, I said, a bit later on this video, we're going to talk about some of the less innocent ways Eric has grown his channel. Like that sentence in its own just automatically intrigues the viewer, because like, less innocent, did he do something evil? Did he do something wrong? Or what's going to happen here? And then like, I just say that's coming up, and it is coming up. It's coming up towards the end of the video. And like, obviously I still have engaging content in between them, but just reminding the viewer that there's a reason you should stay around. Like you need to see this, that this is really important. And yeah, genuinely, retention is something people struggle so much with. And so much comes down to the idea, but also how you structure a video, how you break it down, like what's the scene by scene, and going through a video. And whenever there's any kind of filler content that isn't contributing to that story and progressing the story forward towards that payoff or that end of the video, it should be cut.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see the full version, go to the Uncle Gold Podcast YouTube channel or watch the next clip.